Okay, these notes are the controlled experiment notes. Okay, controlled experiments contain at least two groups. There's a control group. Now that's the group that remains constant, no change. So you're not doing anything to it, okay? The experimental group is the one where the variable is changed. Okay, so let's look at variables. A variable is a factor that can change. For example, temperature, light, location, time, amount, pressure, all kinds of things like that. Anything that you can actually change is considered a variable. Variables can either be qualitative or quantitative. Okay, you have quantitative variables and qualitative. So quantitative ones are variables that are measured using numbers. For example, the mass of sodium added. Or like in the brain pop video, the amount of times you water the plant once a week. That's still twice a week. Those are still numbers. Those are still considered quantitative data. Qualitative variables are variables where numbers are not involved in the measurement. For example, the color of light that causes the best plant growth. Well, you know, color is a color, not a number, so that's why it's qualitative. Okay, then we have the independent and the dependent variable, and students seem to get these two mixed up. Just remember, the independent variable is the variable that is changed. It's what you're actually manipulating, what you're actually doing. So if you're adding salt to something, or you're adding water, or you're changing the temperature by adding heat, whatever, as long as you're doing it, okay, that's the independent variable. The only other time an independent variable is something like the time, okay? So when you're talking about maybe the effect of something over time, time is always the independent variable because time always changes. Okay, now the dependent variable is a factor that is changed because of the independent variable. It's the result. It's what happens because you've changed the independent variable. So if you remember the brain pop video, the one with the plant, you know, Moby and his plants that was all wet and squishy, his soil, okay? So the independent variable was how often the plants were watered. Now the dependent variable was the health of the plant. Okay, so that was what they were looking at. How healthy is the plant because of the amount of times it was watered. Okay, graphing. Now when using quantitative variables, remember the ones with the numbers, and getting quantitative data, you can graph your results. To do a line graph, the independent variable always, and I'm talking always, goes on the x-axis. Okay, and that's the horizontal axis. So the x-axis is down here, which means the y-axis is here. Okay, so in this example, let's say we were testing the effect of alcohol, what it has on the freezing point of water. So, you know, if we add alcohol, does it change the freezing point? The independent variable in this case would be the amount of alcohol added. Obviously, we can't change the freezing point by hand. We can't go in there and say, okay, water, freeze at 0 degrees. Okay, water, now freeze at -10 degrees. Okay, the only thing we can change is the amount of alcohol added. So that's our independent variable. Our dependent variable would then be the freezing point of the water. Now when we want to graph this, we draw our graph. Okay, so on the x-axis here, this is going to be the amount of alcohol, and you have to put a unit. So we're going to put milliliters here. And then on the y-axis, we're going to put the freezing point. Now the freezing point, we also have to put a unit. We're going to put degrees Celsius. Okay? And that's basically it. So hopefully you guys understand it. We'll do a warm-up tomorrow and then do some classwork. And then, of course, you'll probably have a video for homework tomorrow night. So I will see everyone tomorrow. Bye.